If you are a course creator or you have a membership, a program, a digital product, or some way of working with you, you already know that YouTube is the most powerful way to grow your audience online. But sometimes great YouTube strategy doesn't equal great marketing strategy or great sales strategy. And it kind of makes sense, right? If you think about it, you like to see subscriber count go up, views go up. It feels good to you to know that like you're creating this content and people are watching it. People are hitting that subscribe button. Plus, those numbers are public. So other people can see how many subscribers and views you're getting. When those numbers look good, you feel good, right? As the person that is showing up to create that content. The problem here is that you could easily attract viewers and subscribers who are happy to binge watch your playlists and binge every new video that you create, which would be great for your channel. But if you have a course or a program to sell, that's not exactly helpful. So what we want to do is actually create content that does both. This is episode 71 of Video Brand Infusion. My name is Meredith, and I'm here to help you infuse the best video marketing strategies into your business so that you can build your binge-worthy video brand. And the good news is it is totally possible to create content that attracts buyers and even converts buyers and is also likely to grow your audience if you do it right. So number one is the actual video topics that you create is going to make a huge difference on the growth of your channel and who is actually coming to your channel. And since you want buyers, you have to get really clear on what exactly your course or digital product or program does for people so that you know who the buyers are and like the intent of the buyer when they go to YouTube looking for something, looking for content to consume. And one of the things I mentioned in my previous episode was that you want to focus on topics that are problems that somebody is going to YouTube to search for a solution because they are ready to fix that problem. When you build a library of binge-worthy videos that solve specific problems, that's the beginning of turning your YouTube channel into a funnel where your content is doing the work of selling your course for you. So this comes down to like the intent of the viewer, meaning you're not just targeting people who are interested in your niche or want to learn about your niche. You're targeting people who want to have some specific desired result, who have a specific problem to solve, a solution they are looking for. This week, I taught my YouTube funnel playbook masterclass inside of Video Brand Academy. And the example course that I used was like if I had a course on how to make homemade soap, like homemade soap for beginners or something. I don't really know anything about homemade soap. I did Google it, so I had a little bit of information to use that as an example. But if I had a course on how to make homemade soap for beginners, I might want to make some video topics around homemade gift ideas for holidays or homemade soap making equipment under $100. Then I know that the content I'm creating is actually targeting a viewer with the intent of wanting to make homemade soap. And that might sound kind of obvious, but some of the types of content that can work really well on YouTube are things like watch me make 10 rainbow soaps, ASMR, or, the 5-minute melt and pour hack that looks professional, or my morning routine as a soap maker. That's the kind of content that you might find doing really well on like short form platforms, or it might do really great on YouTube. It's within your niche, but it's not exactly going to target actual buyers, people who have the intent to figure out how to make homemade soap. And if you think about the problems and obstacles that people run into when they are doing the thing that you teach, like they're making homemade soap and it's not curing, it's not getting hard, they're doing something wrong. Where are they going to go and try to fix that? They're going to go to YouTube. They're going to go to ChatGPT. They're going to go to the internet and figure out, why isn't my soap curing? If you show up with the solution to that, and inside your video, you're talking about your homemade soap making program for beginners, you're giving examples and resources, and you're pointing out some of the things that they might be doing wrong that they didn't even know they were doing wrong, and you have all of the answers and solutions inside of your paid course. When you do that in your content, that's when your YouTube content starts to convert viewers into buyers, right? So what else can you do inside of your actual video? So it's not really enough to just attract buyers. That's sort of like step one. But inside of your content, once somebody is watching your video, some things I want you to think about. Obviously, mention your program, mention your course. It doesn't have to be like, I have this course, it costs $97, go buy my thing. But if I had a soap making course and there's a specific lesson on 5 mistakes people make that prevent soap from curing properly, I might talk about a couple of those mistakes and at the same time seed the course. That's why I included a lesson on 5 mistakes that people make that prevent curing. And this is just one of them, but there's a couple of other things you might want to think about. That's why I provided this PDF resource. That's why this, that's why that. That's why the course exists. You're not saying go buy my course. You're just letting the viewer know that it exists and that it has more solutions to more of the problems they might not have even run into yet, but you know that your course can kind of prevent them from happening. And of course, you can give a strong call to action in your videos, letting people know the next step is go buy my course. You don't want to word it like that necessarily, but sometimes I like to say, if you want all of the steps for X, Y, and Z, something, I put everything inside of my YouTube funnel playbook, for example, and put a link down in the description. You're not saying go buy my thing. You're saying, here's this course that exists and here's where to go find it. Now, if you do have a YouTube funnel or a backstage YouTube funnel, which is what I teach in the YouTube funnel playbook, you can also have your call to action be to your content that is part of your funnel. So yes, in one way you want to kind of turn your YouTube channel into a funnel, but that doesn't mean that every video is like leading people to a course or program. If you have a backstage funnel, you have some specific pieces of content on your channel that are part of that. So one example is the billboard video that gets pinned to the top of your channel. If you have that there and that's doing its job of attracting your ideal buyers, then every piece of content that you create, the call to action can be to that video. Go watch this video next. If you're brand new to making soap, go watch this video next. Of course, you can link to that video in the description. You can link to it in your end card. So you've mentioned your course or program here and there. You've pointed out that it exists. You've told people where to find it. But you can make the call to action a video that happens to be at the top of your sales funnel. By the time that they get there, they've already heard the name of your course. They already know that it exists. They may have even been to the sales page. And you've done all of that without doing a big launch or a big webinar or anything. It's just weaving the benefits and features and all of that stuff into your regular YouTube content and then telling people where to take the next step. I came across somebody on TikTok yesterday, actually, who has a $5, it's sort of like a meal planning guide, but the way her content was structured made me look at a meal planning guide like something I really wanted and I really needed. So she didn't spend the whole time talking about her meal planning guide. She spent the video providing a couple of tips and a couple of reasons why her method of meal planning works so well. She even mentioned something like, it works so well, 4,000 people have downloaded my meal planning guide. That made me think, oh, wow, like this is actually a really good, effective, valuable thing. And it's only $5. I didn't buy it yet, but I probably will because I'm actually very intrigued. So the video had value. It was interesting. It was effective. It was very targeted to me. And all she did was mention that she had this $5 meal prepping guide. All she did was say, there's a link in my bio. That's it. It was like the softest sell, but at the same time, so effective. And lastly, I mentioned this a little bit, but I like to do something called a billboard video that gets pinned at the top of your channel, either as a trailer or a featured video, or you can put the same video in both of those settings on your channel. That way you have this video that kind of stays at the top of your channel, and it's very specifically targeting your ideal viewers. Because you don't want to make every single video on your channel a sales video. You don't want to make every single video about my course this, my course that. I mean, ideally, yes, of course, you want to make sales. You got to talk about your program. But, I mentioned at the beginning of this video that sometimes good YouTube strategy is not necessarily good marketing or good sales strategy. I think that's the beauty of YouTube. I think that's what makes this fun and interesting. So a billboard video that is specifically targeted and specifically scripted to attract buyers and convert buyers, that gets pinned at the top. It's like a billboard on your channel. And it is essentially the top of the backstage YouTube funnel that I teach in the YouTube funnel playbook. So if you're struggling to make consistent sales of your course through your YouTube content and you don't want to spend thousands on ads or do, back-to-back webinars and launches every quarter, I invite you to try a backstage YouTube funnel. So I'll put a link to that down in the description where you can get the whole playbook.